Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're decoding one of the absolutely trickiest, high-risk, high-reward transitions you can ever make, taking a pure friendship and turning it into a structured business partnership. I mean, did you know that co-founder conflicts are consistently cited as one of the top reasons startups completely fail? It's a massive leap, right? And getting it right requires a totally different mindset. Okay, let's dive into this first section, the 5-year rule and how it essentially shapes your future. So, before we can even think about building a business with a friend, we really have to grasp how our environment shapes us. The source material anchors everything on this super profound quote. You'll be the same in 5 years if it wasn't for the books you read or the people in your life. You see, high-level success, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. Even Bill Gates relied heavily on his foundational partnership with Paul Allen. The associations you actively choose today absolutely 100% dictate who you're going to become tomorrow. Moving right along to section 2, let's look at the phases of friendship and how that relationship actually evolves over time. Every great partnership kicks off in step 1, what the source beautifully calls the innocence phase. You know this phase. It's pure, uncomplicated friendship. Just grabbing coffee, talking about life, zero ulterior motives. But then you inevitably enter step 2, the holistic jobs phase. This is where you start exploring working together and tackling shared goals. Suddenly, you aren't just hanging out anymore. You're, say, trying to launch a podcast or build a prototype in a garage. And that shift, that forces you right into step 3, the balance phase, where you've got to actively manage this totally new, highly complex dynamic of being both best friends and coworkers. And this brilliantly illustrates the core friction you are bound to face. On one side, the friendship dynamic is highly relational, it's warm, and it's built entirely on unconditional support. But the business dynamic, that is sharp. It's strictly structured around outcomes, results, and conditional performance. You're basically trying to merge a dynamic built on grace with a dynamic built on rigorous execution. It's a tough tightrope to walk. So how do we survive that? Let's get into section 3, the rules of true partnership, and the core principles you need. To survive this transition without a massive falling out, the source lays out a very stark, absolutely non-negotiable rule. Nobody above you. Listen, in a true business partnership born out of a friendship, there simply cannot be an ego-driven hierarchy. If one friend suddenly pulls rank and starts acting like the ultimate boss over the other, well, resentment breeds incredibly fast, and that foundational trust shatters. The respect has to be mutual, and the playing field has to be completely level. Which brings us to the ultimate protective mechanism here, balance. The source defines this as the vital equilibrium required to maintain personal trust while relentlessly executing business objectives. Practically, this means you can have a brutal, super tough conversation about tanking profit margins at 2 in the afternoon and still genuinely enjoy grabbing a beer and some tacos together at 7 in the evening without one destroying the other. Now we're on to our final thematic pillar, section 4, the intentional partner and the ultimate value of getting this dynamic right. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this striking ratio highlighted from the source, 1 versus 10,000. The text literally argues that one truly reliable business partner, who is also a real friend, is actually better than 10,000 relatives. Crazy, right? But think about it. Why? Because a shared vision, combined with trust forged in the absolute trenches of business, is exceedingly rare. You absolutely cannot take a connection like that for granted. And because it's so rare, the source explicitly stresses a fundamental directive here. Be intentional. A profound, lasting business partnership isn't just going to happen by accident. You have to deliberately choose it and actively protect it. You really need to ask yourself, what are you doing today to make sure your business thrives without sacrificing the soul of your friendship? It requires conscious, everyday effort. So we'll wrap up this explainer with one final, pretty provocative question to ask ourselves. Why are the people closest to you actually in your life? The source tells us people come into our lives for a reason. Are the friends you surround yourself with right now the ones you'd actually trust to transition into the demanding world of business? Take a hard look at your circle today. Who are you going to be building with 5 years from now?